Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of In the Studio with Carliss. Today, we are very blessed to have Dr. David Walker in our studio. Welcome to the studio, Doc Walker. It's a pleasure to have you here. I was really thrilled when you wanted an opportunity to actually come in and be a guest on the show. I know you're doing a lot of great things in your leadership series of books that you're writing and or going on tour.
Yes.
So I think this would be a great opportunity for our studio audience just to kind of get some of your tidbits about leadership.
Absolutely.
I think leadership in any organization is huge.
It is.
It's the reason why some organizations fail,
Absolutely.
but it's also the reason why some organizations become very successful.
Correct.
So I want you to just give us a brief introduction of who you are, what you do, and then we'll start our question and answer period.
Okay. Well, let me first start off, Carlos, by saying thank you for having me on the show. I heard a lot about the podcast and seeing how much of an impact that it has had in the community. And I'm not here, about me to promote me, but I just
Sure.
came to support, what you're doing because I know you have a great audience and, they love to hear, powerful conversations and impactful conversations. So I'm just happy to be here today.
Awesome. Well, guess what? You're the right man for the job because
Thank you.
you are very inspirational, very motivational. But one of the things I really admire about you, you lead by example.
Thank you very much. I
A lot of people
appreciate it.
talk about it, but it's another
Yes.
thing to walk the talk.
Walk the
So,
talk. Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because we are getting ready for a fantastic show within the studio with Carlos. So, Doc,
Yes.
for most of those who may not be familiar with your work, what inspired you to write The Leadership Referee?
Well, the Leadership Referee is my brand, and it was developed out of two segments of my life.
Okay.
The first segment is leadership. Somehow or another, it was just something that I felt like was something that I was supposed to do. Even as a young kid, I would find myself leading.
All right.
I never forget. I had a conversation with one of my younger brothers, and I'm in my 60s, he's in his 50s, but two of my younger brothers were telling me about how I used to take them to the ball game every time I went.
Okay.
And I was going to the ball game. I love going to baseball games, especially coming out of New York City.
Right. Okay.
And I said, well, if I'm going and I'm going to have a good time, well, let me ask my younger brothers, do they want to go?
Right.
And I took them to the ball game with me just so we could have a good time. But when we became adults, at one point they began to tell me how much of an impact that
Wow.
had on their lives, that their older brother was taking them somewhere. The older brother was looking after them, caring for them, and here's something more important, sharing with what I liked with them. Had no idea of the impact that was going to have on my younger brother so many years later. So that's like one indication of leading, because great leaders usually don't do things for themselves.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
They always have other people in mind,
Right.
to bring them a part of what they were doing. And then, of course, I went into education. I was a teacher, and I went into school administration for 30 years, working for the New York City school system.
Okay. I heard New York in there a couple of times.
Yeah.
You must be a big Knicks fan also, right? Let's get that off the table, please.
Well, I'm going to be honest, and if any Knicks fans are out there, I'm a New York fan and I'm a sports fan.
All right.
So it's not specific to the Knicks. I just
Okay.
love sports,
Okay.
and so happened that this was the Knicks year.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
so go Knicks.
All right.
And then the last thing in leadership I want to talk about, I served 15 years as a pastor in New York. So leadership was always a part of my life.
Right.
And then the referee aspect came because for over 25 years, I was an NCAA Division I college basketball referee.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah. And so when I started going down the road of motivation and being a motivational speaker, I said, well, what kind of brand could I have that's different from everybody else? And I said, let me marry those two terms together, leadership referee.
You know, Doc, I like that. A couple of things I picked up from your conversation. The first thing, I really want to reemphasize this to everyone watching. Leadership starts at a very young age.
Yes, it does.
As an older brother, you took on that role and you began to lead at that age.
Yes.
But you knew that was a calling on your life to be a leader.
Yes.
So as an older brother, you took on that challenge and, you taught your brothers what leadership looked like.
Yes.
So as they grew into men, I'm sure some of the things that they witnessed while they were with you it's helping them structure and lead their lives today as fathers.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
That's very, very, very impactful. And then I like how you talked about refereeing.
Yes,
That's a passion of yours.
yes, it is.
So you determine how to bring the best of both worlds together for something that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times we look for our niche,
Mm-hmm.
but there's an old saying, sometimes we miss the forest before the trees.
Mm-hmm,
Sometimes it's sitting right there in front of us,
Right.
but it's too simple.
Right. And if I could just throw this in, you
Yes, you
use the
can.
word, sometimes we go looking for our niche.
Yep.
And from my philosophy is never go looking for who you are.
I like that. Can you say it one more time, Doc? Give me that one more time, Doc. Please give me that one more time.
Never go looking for who you are, because if you go looking for that person, you'll never find them.
I like that.
Because who you are is not outside of you. And people look outside of them for who they are. Like people say, well, I'm trying to discover. Discovering is always that way, outside. And you're looking outside for the answer, but the answer is not outside. The answer is inside, which means you really want to discern who you are.
All right.
Right? I know that's a big word.
All right.
Excuse me
All
for
right.
throwing out
Let's
big
do
words,
it. Hey, let's
but you
do
want to
it.
discern who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's on the inside. So you want to look inward. When you look inward, you'll find that who you are has always been there. You just had to discern it.
I like that. Doc, you preach it this afternoon, sir. You preach it, but I like that because, I always say this about this platform for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I love about it. I want real people to come in and be themselves.
Yes, yes.
Because this helps people understand you, the person, but it helps people understand your brand.
Yes, yes,
And the
yes.
passion that you have as you speak about it, I'm sitting here next to you, but I hear the passion oozing off of you because this is something that you live.
Yes, yes.
This is your day to day.
It is. It is.
And that's powerful.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, I told you that we had a treat on our hands and Doc is on fire.
Thank you.
All right. The title is unique. What does being a leadership referee mean? And why is that role so important in today's organizations?
Yeah. Well, again, it's a brand. It's my brand.
Yep.
Right?
Yes, sir.
But the emphasis is on leadership. I just, again, tied the referee because that's what I did, and it allows me to stand out. So as you can see by my T-shirt, I have it on my T-shirt as a branding.
Yes, sir.
Right? The leadership referee. So I get to stand out as a leader because there is no other leadership referee. There's other leaders.
True.
But there's no other leadership referee. And so when I combine them, so what does it mean? So more of the emphasis not on the referee, but it's on the leadership. It was John Maxwell who said leadership. It talks about how every organization's rise and falls on leadership.
Yes, it does.
You were saying that earlier.
100%.
Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The success of an organization is based on the leader.
Yes, sir.
And leadership.
Yes, sir.
The failure of an organization is based on leadership. Recently, here's something that everybody can relate to, is that when something is going wrong, what's the question that everybody asks?
That's right.
Who's in charge?
That's right. Who's the leader? That's right.
Right?
Yes, sir.
It is the most quintessential word in the English language because it doesn't matter the situation, the organization, the company, the business, who is leading.
Yes.
Right? So leadership referee, again, is my brand, but the emphasis is on leadership. And we'll talk more about that later.
All right. Doc, you're on fire. You're on fire, Doc. You work with many leaders.
Yes.
Throughout your career. What are the 3 leadership mistakes you most often see?
Yeah, mistakes.
Yes, sir, mistakes.
Definitely lack of communication. You're never going to be a successful leader unless you're communicating with your staff, communicating with the organization.
Yes.
And guess what? Even communicating with yourself.
Yes, yes.
One of the things we learned as referees, you have to have this thing, what we call self-talk. You got to constantly, and it's sort of like an evaluation.
Okay.
You, right? All right. Is everything going well? Am I doing what's right? Was that a mistake? You got to talk your way through things. So
it's kind of like accountability.
Accountability, right? So number one is communication. Here's something that I think is your success, but since you asked me a mistake, the lack of presence.
Wow.
Right? The lack of presence. As a leader, you got to show up. You got to show up for your people. You got to show up for your business. You have to show up for your organization because they're looking.
Yeah.
Again, they're looking for who's leading. So what kind of presence you have? And I have a saying, and I don't know whether this is the right moment to drop it here, but
Drop it,
since
Doc. Drop it in. Put it in, Doc. Let's go.
Since I'm talking about presence, it's not about your title. You know, a lot of leaders think that
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
it's about the title.
Yes, sir.
CEO,
Yeah.
principal, president, pastor. It's not about your title, right? I have this saying that leadership is not the title you hold, but the presence you carry.
Can you say that one more time,
Yeah.
Doc? Let me write that one down. Say that one more time, Doc.
Leadership is not the title you hold, it's the presence you carry.
Yes.
You have to have presence because it's the presence that transforms situations. I oftentimes say your title can get you in the room, but it's your presence that will transform the room, right?
Woo!
It's your presence that will
Doc, you on
transform.
fire. You on fire, Doc. You are on fire.
Oh my God. Yeah.
What you're saying, this can, and I keep taking this back to when you were younger with your brothers.
Okay.
Because these same leadership principles can relate for a father with
Mhm.
his family.
Right.
Being present.
Yes. Yes.
It's just leadership
Yeah.
encompasses so many
Yeah.
different avenues, how we utilize it in our day to day. It doesn't carry over to your job,
Right.
but it's the essence of who you are.
That's right. And when you say, and one more thing, because when you start talking about dads, I get excited.
We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it, Doc. Let's talk about
You
it.
know, presence is also a present.
Okay.
It's a gift. And the gift is not for you, it's for others.
Okay.
So when we have presence, we're given a gift. Because you say about dads
Yeah.
to your children.
Yes,
That's
sir.
their gift from you to them, your presence.
That's
know?
powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Doc, you on fire. You are on fire. Okay. In your opinion,
Yes.
we kind of touched on this a little bit.
Okay.
What separates a good leader from a truly exceptional leader?
Yeah. I'll throw one out because you already said this: accountability.
Yep.
You have to be accountable for your actions, right? I believe that there's no one in leadership who's going to go from A to Z without making a mistake.
100%.
Right?
100%.
You're going to make a mistake.
Yep.
And sometimes people say, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it differently, right? You've heard that, right? But I think that that's an incorrect statement. And I'm just going to add my own Doc Walk statement.
Break it
to
down,
right?
Doc. Let's go.
And this is the better way of saying, some people, again, if I had to do it all over again, I would do it differently. I believe the better way to say it is, if I had to do it all over again with what I now know,
Ooh.
or what I have now learned,
Yes.
I would do it different.
Yes, sir.
Because if I don't learn from my mistakes, what am I going to do?
The same thing
I'm going
over
to do the
again.
same thing over again.
Wow.
I have to learn. And I'm an athlete, former athlete. I used to play college baseball.
Okay.
And one of the things in sports is we have the standings. The standings is the wins column,
Yes, sir.
the losses column, and the percentages,
Yes.
right? UL and percentage.
Yes.
If I am 4 for 4, my percentage is 1,000 or 100.
You're batting 1,000.
Right? I'm batting 1,000. And let me make it in terms of wins and losses.
Yes, sir.
If I play 4 games and win 4 games, I'm 4 for 4, I'm batting 1,000. But let's say I play 4 games and I only win 3.
Okay.
The W column would be 3 and the loss column would be 1.
Correct.
But in my philosophy, I don't use W's for wins and L's for losses. I use W's for wins and L's for learns.
Wow. That's powerful.
Right? And the reason why I do that is because if it's a learn, then it's not a loss.
That's right. You're gaining something from it.
And I'm still batting what?
1,000. Doc, you on fire, Doc. You on fire,
because
man.
it's not a loss.
That's right.
It's only a loss if you don't learn anything.
If you don't pick anything up from
right?
it. That is powerful.
So get out there, be an effective leader, do whatever you're supposed to do. And when the error comes, it's okay. Learn from it.
That's it. That's it,
Learn
Doc.
from it.
That is powerful. I'm definitely going to take that philosophy moving forward because sometimes to be an effective leader, to be a great leader, it's okay to say you fail.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
None of us get it right.
No one.
But
All
that's
the
how
time.
we learn.
All
That's
the
how
time.
we learn.
Right.
And another good thing that I picked up in leadership is you just watch multiple leaders and you just take bits and pieces from each one until you create your own portfolio for your leadership look and feel.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, that was another one, Doc, and I'm going to have to add to my leadership portfolio. It's not a loss.
It's not a loss.
It's a learn.
It's a learn.
I like that. Wow. And Doc, hey, look, I know this is your first time coming in the studio with Carliss, but I hope it certainly will not be your last.
It will be.
Because what I, again, love about this platform and it just being an informative vehicle.
Yes.
Leadership. Hopefully someone is watching this is in between.
Yes.
And they're trying to determine, how do I handle a certain situation? Because as I bring guests in to the podcast, I always feel like the timing has been ordered by God.
Yes.
Because I have a general idea who's coming on or what are they going to talk about. But when individuals approach me about coming on, I really feel like there's a value that will be added, that one of our viewers will see something
right
that will motivate them, something that will help them if they're at a crossroads.
Okay.
And it determines, you know what, I've got some really good information from the podcast. Now I feel a little bit more secure in the next direction that I'm headed.
Okay.
So, Doc, you're 100%. You're on this, Doc. This is some good stuff. Okay, what advice would you give someone stepping into a leadership role for the very first time?
Number one, take your time.
Big.
Don't be in a hurry to get to the destination.
I like that.
You know what I'm saying? Take your time, learn the process, learn the people, assess where you are before you make giant moves, big moves. Because sometimes you don't know who's in your organization until you get there and take an assessment.
That's huge, Doc.
Right?
Huge.
Yeah, right? And then also rely on the experience of others, sometimes within the organization, sometimes without. You have to rely, if you're just starting out as a leader, you can't know it all.
Absolutely.
You can't know it all.
But excuse me one second. But the challenge is, Doc, there are some leaders that are so arrogant. They don't want to humble themselves to get to those things that you just discussed.
Yes.
But then they wonder why things are falling down around them at a rapid pace.
Correct.
So you jump back in.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say that because being in the Marine Corps,
okay,
I've seen leaders with that mentality. I'm such and such. I'm not listening to anyone, but you can't get anyone to do anything in an organized, structured fashion. And you wonder why you're struggling.
Right.
But that humility
is strong.
You have to be a humbling person. Everything that you said is spot on.
Right.
You have to take assessments. You got to know the people. So I'm going to let you go back on what you're saying, Doc, but you are just so on point with what you're saying. And I think if everyone has this formula or know how to find it or to determine, what missing element of the formula that they need, they will be much more successful leaders.
Sure. And it's been often said, people don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care.
Wow. Say that one more time, Doc. Come on. Hold on. I can get my pen, Doc. You can't be, you blowing me out.
We're recording,
but keep it coming. Say that one more time, Doc.
People don't care how much you know. They just want to know how much you care.
Man.
And that's where humility comes in, because when I'm humble, I'm going to be concerned about you and your needs and what's going on with you. Too many times leaders, because they are too rigid.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They don't spend enough time assessing the mood of staff members and employees. Why is Carliss off base today?
Wow.
He's usually a jovial guy.
Wow.
On point, but something is off today. And before I start yelling at him, hey, why are you not doing what you're supposed to do? Hey, Carliss, what's going on? Pull him aside.
That's it.
What's going on?
That's it.
How's things,
Yeah.
And sometimes we can get that out. And that's a caring moment.
That's right. And that's also called knowing your people.
And knowing your people.
And those are the little things that will make them stay late. If you say, look, we got to stay late and get this project done,
right.
They're going to remember the time when they were not on at 100.
Yes.
And you walked up to them and say, hey, look, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is something wrong with your kids, the family, okay? Those are the little leadership nuggets that makes a leader very, very successful. And I'm really glad to hear that you're pointing out all these nuggets, because these are things that the day-to-day. And again, this goes back to your family.
Absolutely.
Even if our kids are having issues and you know your children.
Yes.
But if they're off base, you should be able to say, hey, you okay? You had a bad day at school or something happened?
Yeah. Because
this isn't normally you, but it carries from parenthood to the job. Doc, this is, man, I love this. I love talking about leadership. Okay, Doc, can you share a story from your leadership journey that taught you One of your greatest lessons.
I think I'd have to go back to a season when I was a school administrator in New York City.
Okay.
I was assistant principal, and we had a principal in the building. And something happened with one of my staff members, department staff members,
Mhm.
and they weren't where they were supposed to be. And that day, the principal decided to bust in the door of my office, yelling and hollering, screaming at me. Students were present.
Wow.
About where this teacher was, and the students were unsupervised. But he came at me.
Wow.
And he ordered me to come down to his office to yell at me a little bit more.
Wow.
Ultimately, by him being, I would say, spiteful in his spirit, he began to do certain things, like take things away, and just started to make the work environment very, very difficult. And I remember asking God, how should I handle this situation? I knew that if I went back and forth with him,
Toe to toe, you wouldn't get anything.
I was going to lose.
For sure.
So I left it in his hands, and where I just said, you just show up every day to work and do your job.
Yes, sir.
Right? Do your job. No less than 3 months later. Matter of fact, this happened, let's say spring, like around May, school ends in June. By the time June comes around, a new job offer came. At first, I was very hesitant about taking a job offer because I had been in that school for 15 years.
Okay.
I was
Wow.
very comfortable.
Yep.
Right? I knew everyone in that environment,
Right.
and where someone was asking me to go, I didn't know anyone.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And sometimes we become fearful of the unknown.
Yes, sir. You know how many times that stop people from reaching their destiny?
Right. And so here's what happened. And two things came out of it. Here's what happened. Here's one. One was I said to myself, your choices are to come back here in September and face this mess that you've been facing, or go out and experience the unknown, not knowing what was going to happen. Right. Well, I ended up leaving and going to the unknown.
Sure.
And the unknown was the best decision that I had ever made. That's one thing. So I ended up making the right decision.
So let me jump in there.
Yes.
Your faith in God.
Yes.
So when you pray and God sees what you're going through.
That's right. And let him fight my battle.
His promise.
Yes.
Is to let him fight your battle.
That's right.
And he will remove you from that situation, but he'll put you in a situation that's going to be better than you could even imagine.
Right.
So thank you for that testimony.
Now, let me be balanced.
Okay.
Because I'm a referee.
I like that.
The black and the white.
Okay, let's talk about it, Doc.
Sometimes we can get too comfortable in a space.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes it's God that sets the fire.
Okay. All right. All right.
It's God that turns up the flame.
All right, Doc.
Because we won't move.
Yes, sir.
We won't move. But better is over there. And because we're in that comfort zone, we settle and we're staying where God doesn't want us. So I look at that sometimes, not necessarily, somebody might say, that's the devil, right?
Yeah, the devil made me
the
do
devil,
it. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's sometimes God turns up the flame.
Talk about it, Doc.
To help you to get. And what he's now saying is, just trust me.
Trust.
He may not tell you I'm the one that turned up the flame, because most of the time we're not going to see it that way.
That's right.
But sometimes he turns up the flame to cause us. So one person said, God pricked you.
I like that.
To cause you to what?
That's right, to move.
To move.
Yeah.
And when I moved, better was ahead of me.
Man, what a testimony. What a testimony. You have said some really powerful comments.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the things, are constant reminders on a day-to-day. I mean, it all centered around leadership, but when you break it down the way that you're breaking down certain aspects of your comments, you begin to think back on situations that you faced, that I've faced. And I was thinking what you just said, well, I'm comfortable or whatever. And I was like, okay, what's the next step?
Sure.
But I'm still comfortable. I'm not making any moves.
Sure.
And then God steps in.
Yeah. And leadership is also being composed.
Yes, sir.
In high volatile situations, right?
Yes.
And again, that's my referee background. How do you make decisions under pressure? Because I was under pressure.
Yeah.
Do I respond back to this
right
who's saying certain things to me, or do I just allow composure, serenity, peace to guide me? That's leadership too.
That's right. And sometimes peace heals all understanding.
Yes.
Peace sometimes it shocks the person that's delivering all the volatile blows.
Yes.
Because they're expecting you to come back and be as volatile as they are, to kind of like volley going back and forth.
Right.